new debut. They will never sue, they will new debut. Yeah, so, story. I'm a storyteller at heart. I love telling stories. Actually, when I was very little, I was incredibly shy and wouldn't talk to anybody. Barely uttered a word. Only sound you heard was me scurrying to my mom's leg. And my beautiful father, who moved into the formless in 2008 and has been gifting me with deep wisdom ever since, told me when I was going into high school, he said, well, real quick, my birth name is John, so in case you guys didn't know that, that's the case. Anyway, he said, John, every day when you're walking down the hallway in high school, make it a point to say hello to one person. Like, if you can do that every day, by the end of the year, you're probably going to be the best known person in the high school, and you're going to be really comfortable with talking to people. He said, when you say hello, just see how they respond and learn from it. And then every time you do it, you get stronger. And that changed my life. And I know he's here with me. Well, I'm cellularly a part of him, but he's definitely here. I can feel him. He always told me to do good things. And so this song, Tree Man, dates back just about 10 or so years ago. I was living in Athens, Georgia, and I've been painting since I was 3. That was my first art. And yeah, and so I did like abstract stuff. I didn't have patience for realism. So I just like, boom! It's like, wow, that's pretty rad. Boom! Color! And sort of like my music, actually. I didn't even put those two together until now. That's cool. So anyway, it was weird how it all happened, but it came through, and at the time, with abstract expression, stuff happens, and then it tells a story later. Like it deepens, and it's like, oh, that's why that happened, and that's why I did that mark, or that's why I created that form. It was telling a part of me. And when I was a kid, my family was Catholic, and we'd go to church, and I'd go home. Not really. It just sounded like the teacher from Peanuts. Wah wah wah. Nothing against it, because I feel like there's a communal element that's really important that people connect with. And did I get myself into an abyss here? Anyway, so I get home, and we had this awesome magnolia tree out in the front yard. Huge. And I would just jump out of the car and get up to the top of the tree, and I'd sit and look out at the world. And everything that those people said, all of a sudden, like I got it. And so later I realized that this tree man is really deep with me, and then I learned about some other cosmologies in regards to the Druids, and the tree of life and the cosmic tree, our galaxy that we live in. And there's something really significant, and so I wanted to write a song about it. So, without further ado, hopefully I haven't overhyped it. Anyway, I love you guys. This is my new song, Tree Man.
Emerging from the moment and in between, unfurling with ease and simplicity, dancing and twirling through the scene, unseen, dreaming, dreaming. From a whisper within a star seed, planted into the womb of our galaxy, to share the blessing of our breath into our consciousness, the journey into sound, light, and presence. He is part human and part tree, a woody tissue wrapped within a bark sleeve. Leaves and limbs would shake and swing from the wind, carrying the songs upon the breeze. Dreaming.
didn't tell you this part was going to happen. So this song, the beginning and the end are always the same. But in this moment, this is an improv story. It's going to be created right here and now with our love and attention. So this story is very cool because Tree Man is multi-dimensional. He can move through time and space. All of time, all of space, all experience. So his story is very radial. So in this episode, this is episode 1. Welcome to the pilot. So Tree Man was born from a whisper into a starseed, and this starseed was planted into the cosmic tree. And the father-mother, or mother-father, or mother-lover, or father-lover, anyway, the mother-father was named Hypnosis. Anyway, hypnosis is basically the memory of all of life in a seed. And it sprouted this being, this bipedal creature known as Tree Man. But don't get caught on the modern interpretation of the word man, because man was originally termed as human. It's the short way of saying a human. So when you see Tree Man, it's not the bipedal masculine figure that you see standing before you. It is the ultimate beginning of all of humanity. So anyway, he was born into this tree, and he landed into this time space known as Egypt. At the time, there was this great goddess named Hathor. Hathor was this amazing being who had incarnated in the temple as a Hathorian in human form. One of the first Hathorians to incarnate on planet Earth. It's a pretty special thing because Hathors are giggly, sonic explosions of the moment. And so to encapsulate them into a human form was almost impossible. But somehow, the feminine form of Hathor could fully embody this feminine energy, ground this awesome, giggly, joyous laughter and sonic expression of love and peace. So Hathor was, you see all these people nowadays, they're doing spiritual teachings, and they're out with the crowd, they're talking to people, and, oh, this is what you do. And, well, she was doing her version of that, but it was way better. You should have seen it. Anyway, she would do these sonic things, and people would be like, nuts. So Tree Man incarnated right beside her, and she goes, like, it wasn't unusual to her. She was just like, yeah, okay, you're here. All right, let's do this together. And so Tree Man and her began to weave a sonic DNA pattern through the cellular structure of all the people inside of the temple. And these people were like, they were feeling it. And all of a sudden, their pores just started to open up. And all of this sweat pouring out. Just waterfalls of sweat pouring out of the pores of these human beings. And then all of a sudden, it started flooding. Waterfalls of sweat in the temple. Nobody knew what was going on, and it was really trippy. And again, like I said, it was a pretty massive experience. I wish you all could have been there. Just tune in, try and tell the story. We'll get to the cool part. Anyway, so what happened was, Tree Man looked at her, and she goes like, Hathor, this is getting intense. She goes, oh, we're good, we got it. He's like, no, trust me. I was just on a water planet with all these whales, and it was epic, man. I mean, seriously. I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't breathe because I'm a tree. I'm supposed to be on land, breathing air. And this is not going to work for people. Human beings, they're not going to be able to handle the waterfalls of sweat flooding in around them. So the water, sweat, something liquidy was getting up. He's like, okay, I've got to do it. I'm unleashed from his bark, she pulled forth the awesome tool known as the Liquidizer. You ever seen that Batman? He always pulled out the cool thing, right? It's like, how do you have every single freaking thing in the world on that little tiny utility belt? Anyway, Tree Man obviously gifted it or passed it on to Bruce because, anyway, here we go. Tangent. Tree Man, the Liquidizer. And he hands it to Hathor. And they both grab it together. And they wrap their arms around each other. And they went, because Tree Man's like limbs and leaves. And then Hathor did this thing like super like Sienna Sherman yoga kind of, and they wrapped arms and they did the Liquidizer over top of them, and then, well, it didn't have the same effect that Tree Man was expecting. Doors go busting off a temple. The people go flying out of the temple. He's grabbing Hathor and they're like trying to swim. Like, look at what we've done. This is crazy. And they finally get out of the temple and everything settles. Tree Man looks at Hathor and goes, "That's pretty cool. We made it." And in that moment, its purpose is to help us breathe, grounding our roots and reaching as far as our minds can see, freeing us from thoughts of insanity, to help us remember we are all flower seeds, dreaming. Traveling everywhere through time and space. Now here is his home. To awaken is her goal. Let's plant the seeds of light and shine our Oreo. Tree Man, Tree Man, Tree Man. Prophecy for you and me. Carrying a 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 prophecy for you and me. Tree Man, a prophecy for you and me. Tree Man.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic.
All right. So, the long list of amazing human beings who've shown up in my life. I met this fellow, brother